are joining us for day 2 of Discovering Deals with John Howard, and John is joining me all this week, and we're going to take a deep dive into some of his tried and tested strategies to help find deals. And John, at the beginning of the week we did state how important it is to build relationships, and for this instalment we're going to focus on estate agents as a channel for deal sourcing. Now, a reoccurring question on Property Tribes is about working with deal sourcers, and obviously you pay fees to them and whatnot. But, you know, an estate agent is a deal sourcer. They're there to sell property, aren't they? I think it's very interesting that people don't understand what an asset estate agents can be if you cultivate the relationships.
I think you're absolutely right, Vanessa. And what these deal finders do, they try and make out that they're the only ones who can talk to the agent, you know, and it's just not true. I mean, I've got 2 or 3 deal finders, and I might pay them over 100,000 a year each, you know, for finding deals for me. But that's different. You know, they know people I don't. But it doesn't stop me going out and knowing a lot of agents myself. And not just residential agents. Even if you're only looking for a residential deal, don't just go to the residential agents, go to the commercial agents. Because they've got commercial property, which these days is much easier to convert into residential, and I do a lot of that. And sometimes they market it the wrong way. First of all, they're not on Rightmove, not many of them are, and Rightmove and these other sites aren't good for marketing commercial properties. So that's the first angle, because if everyone knows about it, what's the point? You want to be in there first, you want to have the contacts, and you want people to trust you and want to work with you. And these agents will do that if you have the right working relationship. So one of the first things, and the old-fashioned way of doing it, I know, is to go walk into estate agents. I've said this time before, I know. Walk in, say hello, get to know a few people, write down little notes when you come out of who they are. You know, Margaret's daughter's getting married next week, so then when you go in the week after, hi Margaret, how was the wedding? And all these types of things. Take some donuts in, take coffee in, do whatever you need to do. Because it doesn't matter how small the offering you make, it might be a coffee. They feel then they've got to respond to you. And that is so important. Don't go between 8:30 and 9:30, because they're all getting probably revved up for the morning. They have all good agents all have a morning meeting between 8:30 and 9 o'clock. So don't go then. They then tend to go out on valuations later on in the day. So try and pick it between 10 and 11, I would. Because if they're any good, they're out on valuations the rest of the time. Don't pester them. Don't go every 5 minutes. Go every 2 or 3 weeks. And when they ring you and say to you, got this, respond immediately. If you don't answer the phone first time, ring them straight back. And even go and look at it, even if you don't want it. Because if you go and look at it and they're there with you viewing it, you're cementing that relationship. And then you can say, this isn't quite what I want. This is what I want. And you can explain to them. So it's a relationship. And you have to work at every relationship you have to work at. Especially after 20, 30 years. So work at that relationship. And you'll find that some don't work out. You don't get on with the person. But there'll be someone else you will get on with. And find a common interest. You both like football, great. If you like Strictly Come Dancing, whatever, it doesn't matter. Find a connection with that person. Find a connection.
No, I totally understand that, and everything that you've said, John, is really about building rapport.
Sure.
And if you have rapport with somebody and they start to understand what you're looking for, etc., that really does, you know, build bridges with them. I know a friend of mine goes into estate agents. He takes his dog and some biscuits, and he says they spend the first 10 minutes talking about the dog, and it's just a real icebreaker, and they remember him because of the dog. Absolutely. And you know, so it's really interesting.
The other thing I would say, Vanessa, is you need to be likable. You know, don't be arrogant, don't be cocky, which I probably was 30, 40 years ago, I don't know. But don't be. Be humble and be pleasant and be supportive. And if you can help them anyway, you know, they might be sponsoring something, or someone might be doing a sponsored run or swim. Sponsor them. Sponsor them. You know, for little money, you can really get involved with these people, and you get something back from them.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the other thing would be to be transparent. I've heard some of these property wealth creation trainers saying, go in, say you're a very successful property investor, even though you haven't done a single deal, and say, you know, that you're a big hotshot investor and you want to move quickly.
Absolute load of rubbish. These people, estate agents are sharp if they're any good, and they'll soon Google you or do whatever you need to do these days. You can't hide anything, even if you want to. Just go in and be honest and say, look, this is my first, if it's your first deal, I need a bit of help from you, and I've got my deposit. You know, when you go and see these agents, though, what you must do is know what you want to buy. It's no good going to see them and saying, oh, I'll buy anything, I will. Well, they won't send you anything. They don't know. You've got to hang your hat on something. Even if that property requirement changes a little bit, give them something so they can ring you back on. It might be you like to refurbish terrace houses. It might be you like to refurbish flats. It doesn't matter. But give them something to hang their hat on and make sure they can ring you back. Very important.
Absolutely. And I think the other thing, John, is, you know, to have a business card, follow up with email, etc. And I think one really good tactic is to say, look, if any deals that you have going through fall out of bed,
Absolutely.
I can potentially step in and repair a chain, or, you know, come to the rescue. I've got nothing to sell. Really state your position to move quickly.
Absolutely. State your position, but be modest about it, and they will give you a chance. Don't mess that chance up, because you won't get a second one. So if you agree to buy a property, make sure you go through with it. Otherwise, just say to them, be honest and say, look, it's a bit too much for what I'm looking at. Never tell them they're wrong. Never tell them they're wrong. What you must remember about estate agents is every day they get out of bed, they pull the curtains back of their bedroom, and it's always sunny. They're super positive. So they don't like delivering bad news to clients. But there's no point in telling them they're wrong. Just say it's not for you. So don't tell them it's wrong. Tell them it's just not your sort of thing, or it's just a bit too much for you to make it work. Because you want to be on their side. You don't want to be anti them. Who likes anyone that's constantly criticising them? They don't. So don't do it.
And I think just to reiterate again that in any relationship, whether it's on or indeed offline or online, it does need to be nurtured. Sure. It's not something where you just go and visit once. You do need to keep that connection, and it will eventually, deliver an outcome.
Vanessa, someone asked me about 6 weeks ago on an interview. They said, "What one thing do you think has put you in good stead over the years?" And I said, mental consistency. Mental consistency. So I'm the same week after week after week after week. If I'm going to see someone 4 times a month, I'll go and see them 4 times a month. Not once this month, twice this month, nothing for 3 months. Be consistent. Be mentally consistent. You may get results in the first week or 2 or month. It might take you 6, 9 months, but you'll get there in the end.
No, you're right. And actually, John, you created a lovely film of your property journey. And in that film, we did see John going into an estate agent and chatting to them and building rapport with them. And we will actually put that video in the footer of this thread so we can see you actually in action. What do you say to people, and we do sometimes get this on Property Tribes, oh, you can't get deals from estate agents? I mean, I think that's ludicrous to say that they want to sell properties. Yes, they work for the vendor, but they want to sell properties.
First of all, do they work for the vendor? Every agent I know has worked for themselves, in as much that they want to get the deal done. They are people who want to bring 2 people close together so that a deal can be done. And they will do that all day long, and they're very good at it, some of them. And you've got no problem whatsoever with them in that respect. That's what they do. They want to do deals. And by the way, they don't even charge you. They're charging the vendor. Even better.
Well, that's why I always kind of point out that estate agents are good rather than going to a deal sourcer and paying an intro fee.
Well, the deal sourcer, the problem with the deal sourcers is that, you know, it's already been through it's like passing the parcel. It's already been through one person, which is fine if you don't know the agent and all the rest of it. And so I've got some very good deal finders. All the people who have come to me in the last 2 years and said they're deal sorcerers and deal finders, unfortunately, I've not done a deal with any of them. I'm still doing deals with the people that I've been working with for 30 years. So that might tell you something about the quality of some of the deal sorcerers these days. I'm sure there's good ones out, and if you're out there, contact me, please.
Indeed, and just as we wrap up this instalment, John, I would also say that, you know, once you've built that rapport with the agent and you've done a deal with them, then they know and they trust you and they know that you're going to follow through, and they'll likely, you know, you'll be very high up on their list when something comes along that they think might be suitable for you.
It will. And the other thing is, you can always thank them. You can always say, next time you go for dinner with your wife, girlfriend, whatever, husband, have it on me. You know, have it on me. And just, you know, pay the bill for them. Why not? So thank you. No one's you don't have to declare it. It's not a taxable situation. You're doing nothing wrong. But it doesn't, like I said to you, it's not the size of the gesture, it's the gesture that counts.
No, I totally agree, and people do love to feel appreciated.
Everyone wants to feel important, and that they're good at what they do, and they love showing off to their partner. They love showing off to their partner. Why wouldn't you?
Indeed. I think the other thing is, just finally, John, is if you find a good agent, they have so much local knowledge and so much intel about the area that they can really help and support you. So it is a very synergistic relationship if you get it right.
Very much so, because they probably know all the local builders. If they've got a letting company, management company as well, they certainly know all the maintenance people who can do the work on the place. And it's a network, you know, it's all about helping each other, this is. And you know, the agent helps the builder then tells the agent about a potential deal coming up, who then tells you. So the whole thing, it's all networking, it's all getting to know people and being honest and decent and trustworthy. That's the key.
Fantastic. Well, that's a very positive note to end this episode on. We will be back tomorrow, and tomorrow, John, we're going to be looking at sourcing properties via auction. And John has actually written a book on this, and he also has an actual training course specifically for investors looking to source properties at auction. So we'll put some details of that below on this video. So I'll see you tomorrow, John.
Great.
See you there.